Our first piano today is a Yamaha Console piano that we're going to be tuning. As I came across it and I went through it, I was playing it a little bit from at least some notes to figure out if everything's working okay. I did notice this little metallic ting sound in many of the notes in this, and so I checked the hammer flange screws, but it wasn't a click like you'd normally hear, and those all seemed to be tight. So I did a little further investigation and found that the spring cords on the hammer butts were broken, at least most of them. Okay, if we look at this here, we've got a hammer. I took one of the hammer butts out. This is off of the top of the tenor section here, or the mid section. As you can see, this right here is the hammer butt spring. This is a little different than in some of the vertical pianos, but a lot of the Asian-made pianos have this type of spring. And as you can see, drop my screw. As you can see, the cord that holds the spring has been broken. Okay, and that's not an uncommon problem in these in this type of hammer butt springs. So what happens is the spring isn't obviously functioning at all, but if you can see in there, let me get a flashlight in there for you. So you can see there's some springs that are broken. Okay, and it's hard to see inside there, but this hammer right here, the cord is actually intact. Okay, as you can see, so that I don't know if you can see that the spring is being held down by that cord, but the one next to it, the spring is sticking straight up. That thin wire there, because the cord is broken. So that's what this piano needs. It functions. There's some bobbling hammers because of it, because the spring isn't functioning on it, so it's making the hammers bobble. But it's making this little tingy sound. I don't know if you can hear it. So you can see the bobbling hammer. I don't know if you can hear that little tinging sound. That one's not making the sound. This one is making the sound, so you can hear a little of a metallic ting sound. That's what the issue is with this piano. It's not a big issue, but because the piano still functions, but it is quite a bit of work to take and replace all those cords, but it can be done. It's one of those jobs that you want to make sure if you do it that you've got an efficient way to do it. Otherwise, it's going to take you way too many hours than what you should reasonably be able to charge for it. So, but certainly, and we'll eventually, hopefully, have a video on how to replace those cords in an efficient way as time goes on. So, but that's I wanted to just show you that on this piano that I'm going to be tuning today. Here, our next piano of the day here is an Everett Spinet piano, and this piano is older, but it's in a little chapel inside a larger church that they only use occasionally, but they keep it tuned up. And just wanted to show you one thing on this piano that I noticed. It's got some sluggish hammers. Okay. Normally those are notes that the hammer returns normally. If you look at this one, falls back very slowly. There's another one that's got a slow return. So, I mean, it could be a number of different things, but if you see something like this, most likely the problem is that the center pinning for the hammer flange is too tight. So we're going to get this one tuned up and maybe lubricate those to see if that makes a difference for those hammers. Otherwise, we might have to repin the flanges on the few that are tight. So just wanted to show you that, but we'll get this one tuned up. Everett Console here today. Next piano we're going to be tuning today here is a Yamaha grand piano in the sanctuary of a church here, and I'm tuning today at. This is a Yamaha. What do we got here? C3. Okay, so this is a 6-foot 1-inch model grand piano. So it gets tuned, twice a year. At Christmas time, and then now we're here into June, so every 6 months. It's in fairly good condition. We did have one issue in the past with a damper that was sticking, and generally what we'll do, it was this D sharp 5 that the damper would just come up and stay up, and so it was tight in the guide rail bushing, I could see. So what I did is I took it out, or I took the action out and made sure that that the wire was going up and down straight through the guide rail bushing, that there wasn't any binding there, but I could see that the felt was real tight. So generally what we do is we'd iron it either using our damper guide rail bushing easing tool, or sometimes I'll just use, if I don't have that with me, I sometimes use the pointed Capstan regulator, and what I'll do is I'll just put it in the hole and then twist it around a few times to heat up the felt. That didn't do it in this case. The felt was even actually too tight for that and doing that. So what I actually had to do was use a file, a round tapered file, and remove some of the felt from the hole. So I did it just a little bit, and that fixed them. And that was a couple of years ago, so it's that seemed to fix the problem and hasn't happened since then. But wanted to mention that because I've had a few questions from some of our viewers about using the damper guide rail bushings, and so that's something I came across on this piano. You can also see that it probably could use the cleaning. The soundboard, there's quite a few dust bunnies there underneath the strings, but that could be done at some point in the near future here. But otherwise it's in good condition. We're going to tune it up today, and again, it's a Yamaha C3 grand piano. This piano we're tuning today here is called a Chickering grand piano. It's a baby grand piano. Chickering company has been around for a long time. They originated in Boston back in the 1800s. I'm not sure what year, but like the middle or later 1800s. They were really good quality pianos, especially back in the early 1900s. I've had one Chickering grand that I had a few years ago that was a really nice piano. Now, one thing I want to mention about this one that's kind of unique, these newer ones, this one's probably maybe 15 years old or so roughly. This Chickering was bought by the company called Baldwin. Baldwin had a couple different brands that they had bought. I think it was back in the 90s maybe. But this one has what's called Accu-Just hitch pins. If you look here at the end of the strings, the back end of the strings where the hitch pins were, these are a little bit different than what you'd see normally in most pianos. This is something that you see mostly on Baldwin grand pianos and pianos made by Baldwin, but as you can see, they're a little bit different. And from what I've heard, they say don't make adjustments to them because they're set at the factory. So I'm not sure what criteria they use or anything for determining the height of the string on the hitch pin, but that's what those are. So if you see that kind of a hitch pin, that's a Baldwin design and used mostly on Baldwin pianos. So just wanted to show you that. But we're tuning this up. It's a nice piano, and so we're getting it all tuned up today.